Hi, this is Jeff Duncan, cyclist. I'm here with my buddy Christophe Bristiel, who's starting off on his own Tour de France of the Domaine Richard. It's the Richard family has owned wineries in France since the 1950s, and they own a few all over the south half of the country. So Christophe, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us where you are and what's going on.
Hi, Jeff. Great catching up with you. I guess it's better at least over a video link than not at all. I am here in front of ChateaudesTours, which is in the heart of Brouilly, the largest of the cru of Beaujolais. So I'm just a couple of miles south of the border to Burgundy. I am here sitting in the vineyard of our Vieille Vigne.
So talk a little bit about the Vieille Vigne. What are Vieille Vigne and how do you determine if they're vieille or not so vieille?
As you well know, Jeff, there is no legal definition of Vieille Vigne. ChateaudesTours, and in the case of Gamay in general, I would say the minimum is 50, so 50. But we have some part of our vineyard is way over 80 years of age, which is quite remarkable. And all those very old vines are not trellis. They are, as the wines just behind me, they are bush vines.
And so how old is ChateaudesTours? I assume it existed before the Richard family came in?
Yes, indeed. It was a strategic chateau. It's an old medieval castle from the early part of the Middle Age. It's called ChateaudesTours, even so there's only one tower still standing. But the site itself is over 800 years of age.
And when did the Richards acquire the winery?
So now 35 years ago.
Oh, could you repeat that? You broke up a little bit there.
1985, 35 years ago.
And why did they, I mean, there's, countless regions of wine regions in France. Why did they decide to go into Beaujolais versus other regions?
The core activity of the Richard family started in the late 19th century, and it's been ever since wine distribution to restaurants, cafe, bistros in the greater Paris area. And you can, I think, say that the Richard family were really incremental at developing the Beaujolais in this type of businesses in Paris, particularly for the Cru Brouilly, where we are here. So they really thought there was a interesting market opportunity, and as always what they do is market opportunity on one side, but on the other it's the beauty and the historic aspect of all the properties they've purchased. So they never purchased just vineyards, they always purchase historic properties like ChateaudesTours.
And ChateaudesTours is not their only property there in Beaujolais, is that correct?
No, indeed. The Richard family owns another chateau where I'm going to stay tonight, straight after we finish this conversation, Jeff. It's just a few miles north from here. It's also a medieval castle, albeit not quite as old, but it's very different in the sense that first, the vineyard is larger. It's almost 100 hectares altogether. But in many ways, it's the heart, the soul of Beaujolais, because it represents 3 crus. We have vineyards in Brouilly, in Fleury, and in Morgon, as well as in Beaujolais and Beaujolais Village. And we produce Beaujolais Blanc, so from Chardonnay grape, as well as, over the last few years, more and more Beaujolais Rosé.
And how much of the production from either ChateaudesTours or Chateau de Courcelles is, how much can we get here in the United States? Is it readily available or?
ChateaudesTours has been distributed in the US for a long time, but for now, with a focus on in the New York area, we've had a a partner, Baron François, for many years, and so this is going on. The distribution of Château de Corcelles, on the other hand, is much more recent, and we are really building up the distribution of Château de Corcelles, like many of the other properties of the family, particularly the ones in Bordeaux. The distribution until a few years ago was almost exclusively through the own Richard network, and this is what we want to change in the years to come.
And just one curiosity that maybe some listeners would like to know. You said that there's a Château de Corcelles Blanc, which is Chardonnay. Is that on the rise in Beaujolais? Do you know? Is it staying about the same? Is it decreasing the Chardonnay production?
It is a little bit on the rise, but it's still very marginal. I can't remember if it's 1, 2, or 3% of the overall production, but it's very small. In fact, we could very well label our Chardonnay as Bourgogne Blanc, because we have some of our vineyards are actually north of the border in Saint-Véran, but and we feel we are a champion of the Beaujolais region, and we decided to label it as Beaujolais Blanc.
Oh, great. So where are you off to next?
Well, so I'm sleeping at Château de Corcelles tonight, and then I'm starting, I would say, the big part of my trip, because I'm going down the Saône all the way to Lyon, where the Saône goes into the Rhône River, and then I'll be cycling down to the southern part of the Rhône Valley. So I've let myself 2 days to do that trip, which is around 300 kilometers. I've decided to cycle on the left bank of the Rhône, in what we call the Drôme, that then becomes the Drôme Provençal, which means it's a bit longer and a bit hillier, but I think it's going to be beautiful. So I have two big days before I'm stopping in the south of the Rhône Valley, where I'll be for about 3 days visiting our various vineyards there.
And do you have any support on your ride? Is there someone there with you, or?
Well, you were supposed to be here, Jeff. So I was expecting you. I was expecting to draft behind you in those long, wide roads. So another friend, also from the US, who couldn't make it for the same reason, unfortunately. And my fourth companion also dropped out last week as English, as England introduced a quarantine on France, and my friend Lars was supposed to do the sort of the backup, but I'm so lucky to have a wonderful wife, Maylene, who will step in, and she will be my support. So I think it's not a bad trade for me anyway. So Maylene, my kind wife, will be supporting me, because I'm not equipped to carry all my food, all my equipment, at least in this trip.
Oh, I didn't realize that Maylene was. Well, please give her my best.
I will.
It's been a while since I've seen her. So big days coming up. Yes. Hopefully the few clouds behind you. Hopefully those are gonna go away, and you'll
hope so.
Be dry. But we are also going to taste some of the ChateaudesTours today, right?
Absolutely, yes. I have a
bottle here. So we have a 2018 ChateaudesTours in from Brouilly.
Same, yes.
Same thing as Christophe. So so why don't you tell me a little bit about this wine? How big is the production? It's of course 100% Gamay, as all.
Absolutely, it's 100% Gamay. It's the bulk of the vineyards are just around us, so you can pretty much see most of our vineyard as I show it to you. You can plots are divided into what our friends in Burgundy would call climat, so divided into small single identities, but they're all blended together. The only exception is the Vieille Vigne, which I mentioned, which we sometimes isolate and produce as a separate single plot wine in the best vintages. But otherwise, this ChateaudesTours is a very good representation of Brouilly as a whole. We only make Brouilly at ChateaudesTours. The production is not small. We have over 60 hectares, 60 of just Brouilly. The harvest 2020 has started behind me. It's Sunday today, so we're not harvesting, but we harvested yesterday. We will start tomorrow at 7 a.m. again. It's harvested by hand. We the grapes never travel very far because the vineyards are around us, which is very nice to preserve the integrity, to preserve the fruit. So we want to this wine. We want to make. It's a serious brouilly, but it's also, I think, accessible, and we want to make it as a very versatile brouilly as well in terms of food pairing. It can be. I think it's a great summer red as well. You can because the tannins are fine, refined. You can chill it. Well, maybe not chill, but refresh it a little bit. You don't feel any greenness or that you can sometimes find. But it's also after a couple of years in bottle, I think it's a very interesting wine for the period coming up. So for the autumn.
No, I think it has a beautiful nose. I mean, we're just right out of the bottle. I literally just opened it, and it's quite fruity and dark red fruit.
Yes.
Red berry fruit. It's just gorgeous nose. And you're right, it's pretty light on its feet, but there's several layers there. I was thinking, you know, like grilled chicken. Even I think this could even go up to heavier stuff like steak. And I mean, it's a pretty versatile wine, I think, because the acidity is pretty high. So it can handle, I think, a variety of food.
That's the beauty of Gamay. Absolutely.
And what would you say, what kind of aging potential do you think this would have?
It varies greatly by vintage, you have to be honest, Jeff. But as you probably remember, my father was working for the Richard family as well. So I have bottles in my cellar in back home in the south of the Rhone Valley, where I'm physically based when I'm not cycling around France. We are. I've inherited, so to speak, some old mature vintages, and even from the pre-Richard family, and I tasted in 1976, believe it or not, earlier this summer, and he was still singing. That being said, 1976 is known locally as the vintage of the century. But I had a 2009 at lunch today, and it was absolutely amazing.
No, I think many Americans don't understand, I don't think, the how great, really well-made Beaujolais can be, and the aging potential. And for a long time, it's been considered kind of the stepbrother or stepsister of Burgundy, but I think it's coming out of that and really creating identity of its own. And this is really a gorgeous wine that
exactly.
I would have no problem holding on to this 5-10 years, no problem, I don't think.
I think that's exactly the issue, or the challenge and the opportunity for Beaujolais is to make the consumer realize that it's not in the shadow of the bigger brother, the Pinot Noir of Burgundy. It's got identity on its own, and this is the identity from the cru, particularly. So, like Brouilly, where we are, make the consumers forget that Beaujolais is not Beaujolais Nouveau. Beaujolais can be terroir driven. It's quite hard to make wine here. You have old bush vines, very high density, everything of plantation. Everything is done by hand, so it's tough. And I think, I hope it will. Thanks, through a communication like we're having today, Jeff, will make wine lovers realize that you can be a wine lover, proud of your knowledge, and proud of drinking cru of Beaujolais.
No, I think it's great. I'm really glad we got a chance to talk about this. I know we're going to talk a little bit more later on in your journey. Probably next time from where are we planning on the next one? From
ChâteaudesTours, I guess. My home.
Your home winery, so to speak. So, all right. Well, this has been great.
Thanks so much,
and safe travels. Again, say hello to Milan for me.
I will.
And rubber side down, as we say over here.
Thanks, Jeff. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Okay.